Reading the 13th chapter of Mark. As Jesus was leaving the temple, one of his disciples said, "Look, what massive stones, what wonderful buildings." And Jesus replied, "Do you see all these great buildings? Not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down." And as Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, Peter, James, John, Andrew asked him, "Tell us, when will all of these things happen, and what will be the sign that they are about to be fulfilled?" And Jesus said to them, "Watch out. Let no one deceive you. Many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and will deceive many. When you hear of wars and rumors of war, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are the beginning of the birth pains." The word from the Lord in the house of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Hannah prayed and prayed and prayed, and how many of you women have children? And aren't you glad? Hannah wanted a child because Hannah was one of many wives. The reading speaks of her rivals. Her rivals were the other wives who all had children, and she didn't have any, which meant she was a failure in the eyes of the Jewish tradition because she had no children. And she prayed and she wept and so forth, and her husband said, Why are you so sad? Am I not more important than 10 children? I'd never ask my wife that, I'll guarantee. I know the answer. But she prayed, and finally she prayed, "Lord, if you give me a son, I'll give him back. If you give me a son, I will raise him as a Nazarite." Now, Jesus was a Nazarene, and that's different than a Nazarite. Nazarites never cut their hair. They grew long hair and long beards, and she promised, "My son will be a Nazarite. I will do that for God. So God, just give me a son so I can give him back." You know, sometimes we make deals with gods, and we promise, "Gee, Lord, if this happens, then I will, you know," like the guy who said, "Lord, if I win the megabucks, I'll give $1 million to the church." And God said, "Do your share. Buy a ticket." Our deal, God's covenant with us is always secure. God's covenant with the people was made long ago, and he said, "I will never do these things to you again. I'll never flood you again." He didn't say what he would do to us. He just said what he wouldn't do. And those promises from God are sacred. Ours, on the other hand, get a little dicey once in a while. I remember the preacher who was driving around the town square. He was late for a meeting with a major donor to the church. And he said, "Lord, if you will find me a parking place, whatever he gives to the church, I'll match half." Just a preacher now. He's not rich, so. Just then, somebody backed out of a parking place. He pulled in and said, "Forget it, God, I found one on my own." We like to take credit for the good stuff in our lives. We like to take credit for things that we make happen, forgetting the coincidences and the circumstances and God's hand that brings things together so that these things become real. In talking to his disciples, Jesus said, all of these things are going to happen. As long as there are humans on earth, we'll have wars and rumors of war. And because of the creation, there will be earthquakes. The way the earth is made up. He didn't explain all this stuff to him. This is what we know. That those plates shift and there's earthquakes. Sometimes lightning sets fires. Sometimes man sets fires. But there will be fires, there will be wars, there will be rumors of war. All of this is going on, and it's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. And we've decided that we can interpret it and know that this is the end time. In 1830, a pastor took his whole congregation to the top of the hill in Tennessee, waiting for the end. And the next morning, they had to walk down. We calculate. We figure out. We make judgments. And God laughs. Because ultimately, He's in charge. Just as in Hannah's life, He was in charge. When she came to Him with an earnest plea, He heard her. When we come to Him with an earnest plea, He will hear us. Now, she made it very clear what she wanted. I'm not sure I always make it real clear to God in my prayers what I want. Oh, I know in my heart I want to walk the way He would have me walk. I want to walk hand in hand with Him. I know all of the platitudes and I know all of the phrases and all of that kind of stuff. But most of all, I want Him to make my heart grateful for that which He's already given to me. Grateful for that which I already have. Grateful so that I don't have to keep bugging Him for more. Ken and I played golf yesterday, and the Nola. Yeah, I'll think of it after a while. But it was her memorial tournament. She was a big Kiwani, and we played. And somebody said, "Oh, you get divine guidance on the golf course?" And I said, "He's got better things to do than worry about my game." There is no hope. It's beyond prayer. Yeah, Nola Charles. I can't love Nola, but she used to come to me every once in a while with these words. Get your checkbook. It's for the kids. Single-minded purpose is remarkably effective. Hannah had it. She knew what she wanted. Her husband tried to talk her out of being morose and gloomy about the things that she didn't have, but she finally got what she wanted from the God. Oh, it's a great story. She called him Samuel because God gave him to her. Now, how many of you didn't name your kid Samuel? You see, you didn't appreciate it. You didn't pray the right prayer, I guess. Promises made ought to be kept. As a matter of fact, that was the advice on my wedding day that I got from my father. He said, don't promise your kids anything you aren't going to give them, be it a gift or a beating. His words. Don't promise God what you're not willing to give Him. Don't make deals with God you're not willing to follow through on. Don't make yourself guilty of failing God. Pray, believe, trust, want, most of all, trust. Hannah did. Worked out wonderfully for her. Most of us try. But don't give up if you failed. He'll give you another shot. He'll listen again. But when He comes through, remember to thank Him. Remember to be grateful for the gifts that He's already given you that you didn't even ask for. Be grateful for the gifts that you did get that you did ask for. And be grateful for a God who will listen as you ask again and again. But most of all, understand that the greatest gift you can pray for is an open heart that can love abundantly, openly. Hannah made a deal, and God kept it. Don't make a deal you're not willing to keep when you pray to God. Believe, trust, love. Know truly, peace is yours Not a bargain, not a deal, a gift. A gift from the God who made the promise to always love. Go in His peace.